Let's talk about something we deal with every single day. Truth. Sounds simple, right? Well, what if I told you that the line between a simple truth and a simple lie has been one of the biggest, oldest battlegrounds in all of philosophy? Okay, let's dive in, because this gets surprisingly deep and fast.
I mean, really think about it. Your friend shows up with a new haircut, and it's objectively terrible. You tell them you love it. Have you done something wrong? Or have you actually done something right? You see, that one little question pretty much throws our everyday rulebook out the window and lands us smack in the middle of a huge philosophical debate.
And that's because, for philosophers, this isn't just about facts versus fiction. They argue that the very line we think separates truth from lies, it gets all blurry depending on your perspective, the words you use, and this is a big one, power. So, to really get a grip on this battle, we're going to look at the problem through a few different philosophical lenses. Think of it this way. Each one gives us a completely different way to see what it even means to tell the truth. First up, we've got a classic showdown. On one side, you have the idea that truth is this absolute, unbreakable rule. And on the other side, the idea that, hey, maybe the only thing that really matters are the results, the consequences of what you say. Okay, so this is where our bad haircut problem gets really juicy. On one side, you've got Immanuel Kant. He's the absolutist, and he would say you have to tell your friend the truth. For him, the act of lying is just wrong, period. The outcome doesn't matter. But then you have John Stuart Mill, the pragmatist, who'd say, whoa, hold on. He'd argue that the white lie is actually the more moral choice because it avoids hurting your friend and creates more overall happiness. I mean, two brilliant thinkers, two totally opposite answers. Wild, right? See, for Kant, it all comes down to his big idea, the categorical imperative. It sounds complicated, but it just means some rules have zero exceptions. Lying is one of them. For him, a lie isn't just saying something false. It's a failure of your moral duty. You're basically using the other person as a tool to get what you want, instead of treating them like a person who deserves the truth. And then you have Mill's way of thinking, utilitarianism. For a utilitarian, truth isn't some sacred principle. It's more like a tool in a toolbox. Its value is totally flexible. The only thing that matters is choosing the action that creates the greatest good for the greatest number of people. So if telling the truth is going to cause a bunch of unnecessary pain, well, a utilitarian might say it's not the right tool for the job. All right, let's switch gears a little. We've talked about external rules and results. Now let's go deeper and look at the internal, the personal, and the social sides of truth. This is where things get really interesting and a lot more personal. This is where a whole group of thinkers, the existentialists and post-structuralists, come onto the scene and just flip the whole game on its head. They started asking a brand new question. They weren't just asking, what is truth? They started asking, wait a minute, whose truth are we even talking about? And nobody flipped the script harder than Friedrich Nietzsche with this bombshell of a quote. He basically argued that a lot of the things we call objective, capital T, truths are really just powerful stories, metaphors that a society has agreed to live by just to keep things orderly. It's a pretty mind-bending idea when you first hear it. So for an existentialist like Nietzsche, you don't find truth in a textbook. Truth is about living authentically, being true to yourself. In this view, a so-called societal truth that's forced on you can actually feel like a deep, personal lie if it doesn't match up with your own experience. The philosopher Michel Foucault took this idea and ran with it. He argued that truth isn't something we just find out in the world. He said it's actually produced by powerful institutions. He called this a regime of truth. And here's how it works. First, big institutions, think science, law, the media, they get to decide what even counts as knowledge. Then they create a discourse, which is just a fancy word for a way of talking and thinking about something that becomes the accepted norm. Over time, that discourse just becomes the truth for that society. And ultimately, that truth is used to guide how we all act, making it a super powerful tool for social control. Okay, after all that heavy theory, let's get a little more practical. How do philosophers actually, test if something is true? Let's pop open the Philosopher's Toolkit and look at 3 of the main ways they do it. So there are basically 3 big tests for truth. First up is correspondence theory. This is the one we all use intuitively. Does the statement match up with the real world? The cat is on the mat is only true if, there's an actual cat on an actual mat. Simple enough. Then there's the coherence theory. This one asks, does this new idea fit in with everything else we already believe to be true, like a puzzle piece?
And finally, you've got the pragmatic theory, which just asks, does believing this idea work? Is it useful? Does it help us get by in the world? So as you can see, even the basic test for what makes something true is totally up for debate.
All right, let's pull all these threads together. After looking through all these different lenses, our simple, everyday idea of what a lie is has become way richer and a whole lot more complicated.
And this right here is the key takeaway. Most of us think of a lie as just a simple failure of facts, but a philosopher might see something totally different. For Kant, it's a failure of moral duty. For Mill, it's a bad calculation of happiness versus harm. For Nietzsche or Foucault, it could be a challenge to a truth that society just made up. And for the existentialists, it could be a betrayal of your own authentic self. It's so much more than just getting the facts wrong. Which leaves us with one final massive question to chew on. After all of this, where do you land on the spectrum? Do you think truth is something objective, out there in the world, just waiting for us to find it, like a scientist discovering a new planet? Or is it something more personal, more social, a reality that we all, together, actually create? The answer? Well, it pretty much changes everything.